Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm talking about community or not. If you've left the church, whether you want to go back in or find another one or whatever. So I just want to talk a little bit about that today, just for a few minutes. Listen, this might sound strange to you. It might even sound heretical. It might sound rebellious. It might sound totally weird, but you're free. You're totally free. I remember feeling different times in my life feeling very trapped, and then something would happen where I realized I'm not trapped. I'm totally free, completely free to do what I want. And the same goes for you. You're free. Now, there might be consequences that you're uncomfortable with if you exercise your freedom, but you are free. I just want to also remind you that nobody, I said this a lot, nobody has a gun to your head about what to do. You're free and you're autonomous, you're independent. If you don't want to go to church, guess what? That's right. Don't go to church. If you want to go to church, go to church. If you don't like the church you're going to, stop going or keep going. Maybe you can shop around and find the church that you're comfortable with, and we're going to talk about what to look for here in a second. Then do that. You're totally, totally free. Nobody's keeping a scorecard. Actually, that's true. Nobody is keeping score. Nobody has a gun to your head. We were raised, I don't know about you, but I'll talk from my experience. I was raised that once you commit, you never stop. You never give up, you know? And everybody said I was loyal to the very, very end. I was totally committed. Some would say overcommitted. But I'm loyal, man. I am totally loyal. To a fault, maybe. But I am loyal. And you know what? I don't have to be. I don't have to keep doing something that hurts me. I don't have to keep going somewhere that makes me very uncomfortable. I don't have to keep watching things that make me squirm and seem to me to be cruel and coercive and manipulative and abusive. I'm not going to do it. I don't have to anymore. Before, I felt, well, I'm committed, I'm loyal, I have to take the cross and, endure to the painful end, even if it means crucifixion, the suffering and all that, turn the other cheek and endure, no. If somebody's abusing me or I'm in a toxic situation or relationship or whatever, you know what? I don't have to keep doing it. I don't. And neither do you. But if you want to look for another community, I have some suggestions what to look for. First of all, find a place where you're not restricted in your thought, where you are allowed to think the way you want to think, where you're allowed to explore. Look for a place that encourages you to ask questions and affirms and embraces doubt as a crucial and integral part of the spiritual journey. Look for a place that maybe you don't agree with 100%, but it doesn't matter, okay? I've seen churches like this, I've been in churches like this where the pastor or the minister or whatever, they hold their theology very loosely and they don't require anybody else to sign up, for their theology. That you don't have to be on the same page. We're just all explorers here. We're all pilgrims, and we're just gathered here on a Sunday, and and the teacher at the time just says, "Here, I'm just offering this. If you like it, good. If you don't, no problem." It's kind of like I say to the members of the Lasting Supper, my online community. It's kind of like we come to a potluck, and we all bring our dishes. And we put them out on the table. We don't expect everybody to like everything. And we expect some people to enjoy some things, and we expect it to be shared. And we don't expect people to say, "Oh, this is gross. I can't believe you brought this," or whatever. We're just polite, mutually respectful, and we just enjoy what we enjoy. And if we don't like it, we just, bypass it. Pass it up. That's a healthy community where you're allowed, everybody's allowed to come. The teaching is held very loosely. It's offered. We can receive it if we wish. We can eat the meat and spit out the bones, whatever you want to call it. We are allowed to think for ourselves. We're allowed to analyze. We're allowed to critique. And if you can find a context in which that is allowed, then great. I went to a very, very, you might say, well, that's conservative churches that demand, you conform. But it's not true. I have been in Catholic churches, Presbyterian churches, United churches, Universalist churches, you name it, where I have felt that the teaching was very manipulative and coercive. Now, I remember a few years ago, I went to a Universalist church, and the pastor preaching at the time, I was like leaning way back in my chair because he was scolding us and reprimanding us for not believing a certain way. It's like, you know what? I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't. I'm not willing to abide by it. And I was no longer required to be there and to put up with that. So I didn't go back. No problem. No problem for them, no problem for me. And if you can find a place where there's mutual respect over conformity, that would be awesome. But listen, in the end, I've given a lot of points here, but in the end, listen, trust your gut. Just trust your gut. Trust your intuition. Trust your own critiquing and analytical abilities. Trust your brain. Just, I know for many people who have grown up in religion, I know this for myself. I remember I shared with you how difficult it was for me to answer the question, what do you want? I found that like an impossible question to answer. What do I want? Because I was never allowed to want. I had to want what God wanted, or I had to want what Jesus wanted. And so I know it's very difficult for some of you to say, what do I want? What's good for me? What do I want to expose myself to? What is harmful even? Some people can't even answer that. What is harmful to me? Because some people, like me, they grew up that, harm is good. It's good for you. Discipline is good for you. Hardships are good for you. They make you into a better person, or whatever you want to call it. But start trusting your gut, even on the little things. No, I don't think I want to go. Well, why? I just don't feel like it. Explain yourself. Well, I can't. I just don't feel like it. That's good enough. It's good enough for you. That's fine. That's totally fine. My kids, they're adults now. They're all in their 20s, all three of them. They went through the whole church thing. They're pastors' kids, or were. I'm not a pastor anymore. Some would argue that I am, naked pastor and all, but I don't pastor local churches. They're free of that burden and responsibility as PKs. But they grew up in it, and they can smell a rat a mile away. They can smell control and coercion and manipulate. They can smell it, and they won't go anywhere near it. And they don't feel any compulsion to submit themselves to it either for holy or, dignified reasons. Or noble reasons. They don't feel any compulsion to be noble and endure hardship just for the sake of it, because they're supposed to. And I admire them for that. And another thing, just because you tried a church or you go for a month or two and you think it's okay, and then something happens that you realize it's not okay, stop going. It's okay. Go for 2 months, go for 3 months, go for a year. Stop. Stop, go, stop, go. It doesn't matter. It's totally, totally up to you. You're free to decide whatever you want. It's completely up to you. You're free. I just want to keep emphasizing that. You're free. What do you want? What's good for you? Do it. Want it. Okay, guys. Like I said, no one's got a gun to your head. You can do whatever you want. You're free to do it. And we'll see you in the next part where we're going to talk about personal spiritual practice. And I'll see you there. Bye for now.